I went through and I predicted every single week of the NFL regular season. I went through game by game, week by week, and these are the results. I predicted every single of the 32 teams' regular season record, and we're going to have the projected playoff bracket. I'm going to talk about what my team's predictions are, and we're going to talk about, do these record predictions make sense for all of these teams and all of these ball clubs? You guys know that through every single week of the regular season, I will give my video every single week, week 1 predictions, week 2 predictions, etc., etc. These are the overarching season predictions, and we're going to break down the landscape of which of these teams project out to be great, which of them project out to be good, and who's going to make the playoffs. Smash the like and subscribe button for all the football content coming your way. Go subscribe to True Fantasy Review for the best fantasy football content. And let's start off with the AFC East. With the AFC East prediction, listen, man, I started off all the way back in week 1. I went all the way up to week 17, week 18. So taking a look, week 18, right? We got a week 18 now that there's bye weeks, now that we have the 17-game season. Buffalo Bills. I have the Bills coming in at 13-4, and that also is factoring in a loss to the Baltimore Ravens in week 1. So the Bills do have a pretty favorable schedule, in my opinion. It was hard to go through and give the Bills losses in a lot of the games that they were playing against, worse ball clubs, such as the 2 games versus the Jets, the 2 games for the Patriots, 2 games versus the Dolphins. I think I'm actually pretty high on the Dolphins this year. You can see I have the Dolphins with a record of 8 wins, 9 losses. I feel like people are sleeping on the Dolphins. You can see that with the week 1 spread. The Dolphins are currently underdogs against the Indianapolis Colts. And if I go over here and look at the AFC South, I have the Colts, I guess, kind of on par with the Dolphins, 3 games below 500, whereas the Dolphins are 1 game below 500. The Patriots, people are not going to be happy. I have the Patriots at 7-10. I know a lot of people were probably hoping to see the Patriots above 500. Give it another year, man. We don't even know if Diggs is going to be healthy week 1. The Patriots wide receiver 2 is Demario Douglas. I still think the Patriots are lacking on offense. For sure, they're up and coming, but still they're competing with the Bills and Dolphins. It's not easy sledding for the Patriots this year. So 7-10. The Jets are 5-12, and I wish that I tried. I was thinking in my head Justin Fields can elevate this offense potentially. But they already have bad rumblings of the running back room. They're not even going to use Breece Hall the right way. It sounds like they want him out of there, after this contract year. They have Garrett Wilson a receiver, and then wide receiver 2 is Josh Reynolds. So, in terms of offensive skill power, it's still lacking. 5-12 is maybe a bit harsh, but a lot of these lower tier teams are probably going to have lower records than they might get, just because it's hard to predict the upset games specifically. Going ahead and ahead in the week schedules. AFC North. I think this is a pretty solid prediction. At the bottom, we have the Browns at 5-12. The Browns have a very, very tough early on schedule. Week 1, the Browns take on the Bengals. Week 2, they take on the Ravens. Week 3, they take on the Packers. That's a tough schedule. Week 4, Cleveland Browns take on the Lions. You guys see the point. They're playing They're playing the great teams the first 4 weeks. Flacco is going to have some tough matchups. The Steelers, I did the whole schedule, and I predicted them at 8 wins, 9 losses. I had to go in, I had to manually tamper, and I had to make sure that they were 9-8. Now, when I manually tamper, some team got shafted. I think the Packers might have got shafted with a loss or something. Obviously, this is consistent. If one team wins, the other team loses. So that's how these predictions were made. But the Steelers, I didn't want to say that they weren't going to have their first winning season, because I'd probably get flamed. And I think that there's a good chance that they might still be 9-8 with that elite defense. It's just a matter of how does Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, how do they gel? And can they put up points on offense to compete? The Bengals, I have 12-5. The Ravens, 13-4. I actually agree with both these predictions. I'm high on the Bengals this year, and I think 12-5 is fair, considering how bad their defense is. And the Ravens, I have 13 wins, 4 losses. AFC South, we have the Tennessee Titans. 6 wins, 11 losses, pretty fair for a rookie quarterback in my eyes. Probably going to be a bit disappointing as a Tennessee Titans fan, but 6 wins, maybe you'll see some flashes. The Colts at 7-10. They have everything except for the quarterback. Daniel Jones is probably going to be a game manager. I think around 500, 3 games below 500. It's kind of fair for expectations. Jacksonville Jaguars at 8 wins, 9 losses. Texans 9-8. Now, with the Texans, I think the Texans definitely can be above a 9-win team. I think the Jaguars could be above an 8-win team as well. What I'm kind of factoring in here, There's a lot of unknowns for the Jaguars. We don't even know their running back situation. That's for sure. New coaching staff. Let's see how it plays out. The 8-9 for now. The Texans, I'm kind of factoring in injuries like no Joe Mixon for X. X is like insert any date. We don't even know. You have Nico Collins, who always gets banged up, so maybe that'll factor in some of those 8 losses. But the Texans do, project out to win this division with only 9 wins. Kind of a weak division, probably the weakest one. AFC West. This is where it's a big boy division. It gets competitive. Raiders at 6-11. It's a bit of a disappointing season. I think the Raiders could actually surprise to the upside, maybe push 8-9 wins. The Chargers, Broncos, both 10-7. I almost had the Chiefs at 10-7 as well, but I wanted to have a division winner. So the Chiefs come in here at 11-6. Now, what I want to note is I actually gave the Chiefs week 1. You can see the Chiefs get the win in Brazil over the Chargers. Look what happens. The Chargers if the Chargers win that week 1 game, the division gets very, very interesting because it's competitive down the stretch, and the Chiefs will be rematching the Chargers again later in the season. Obviously, divisional matchup. The Broncos, 10-7. I think their Broncos are a sleeper team. Like, as of right now, if we look at the playoffs, which we'll get to later in the video, all 3 of these teams would actually be in the dance. NFC. The NFC East, the defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles at 13 wins, 4 losses. It's actually a pretty tough schedule. Wouldn't be surprised if they go 11-6, 12-5, but 13-4 is definitely within the realm of possibilities. Commanders at 11-6. Cowboys 7-10, Giants 4-13. I think that's a pretty fair NFC East assessment. I know Cowboys fans are going to be kind of up in arms at 7-10. Listen, I'm actually high on the Cowboys offense. I am. Even though the run game is kind of scary, the defense is very, very bad, and you're not the Bengals. You're not yet. The Lions, 12-5. NFC North, I have the Lions still topping out the Packers just by 1 game. Now, again, similar to the Chiefs versus Chargers, I actually have the Lions pulling off the upset because right now they're dogs on the road week 1 against the Packers. So again, if the Packers handle the Lions week 1, things could get very, very interesting towards the top of that NFC North division. Now, it would be a disappointing season for the Vikings if they were to finish 7-10. I guess that I am just fading J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. Like, Jordan Addison is suspended the first 3 games of the year. Adam Thielen's wide receiver 2. Aaron Jones is going to get up there in age. Jordan Mason, RB2. Justin Jefferson has the hamstring injury. Is that going to nag him? Let's see what J.J. McCarthy does. The Vikings could surprise to the upside because they did that with Scam Darnold a year ago with how many wins they just put up. But, kind of fading them a bit right here. Unfortunate. Bears 6-11. Yeah. Everyone's high on the Bears. I'm not. Explanation, that's enough. NFC South, I'm high on the Buccaneers at 10-7, but I did want to pump the brakes a little bit. Like, I didn't want to give them 12 wins. I didn't want to give them 11 wins. They're in a very weak division where all they have to compete with is the Saints, Panthers, Falcons. Now, I know Panthers fans probably are hoping for more than 6 wins with this Bryce Young team that obviously had an insane run of winning games in the second half of last year. And the Panthers could surprise to the upside. I kind of just thought they had a tougher schedule. Obviously they're going to be playing the Saints. They're going to be playing the Falcons. Maybe that's where some of the wins come from. But I do have the Falcons at 7 wins, Panthers at 6, and then Saints, RIP. Enjoy Nick Singleton or whatever QB you take. Drew Aller. And enjoy Drew Aller in 2026. NFC West, final division, most competitive. I almost finished the NFC West with all 4 teams at 9-8. It was very, very close to that being the case. The 49ers at 10-7 seems fair. When I was going through and doing the predictions, I was like, listen, I got to give the 49ers some more late season wins because you would think that Brandon Ayuk's back after week 6. You would think Ricky Pearsall is going to be getting his steam the second half of the season. You also have to think, is McCaffrey going to be there? That's a big question mark as well. So if we have no McCaffrey, then the Cardinals and Rams would be in good spots. The Rams, the Rams are one of the best teams in the NFC. So 9-8 might seem harsh. There's just a lot of unknowns about how long can Stafford stay healthy with that back injury. Like, he's not getting any younger. Cardinals fans, 9-8. It wouldn't be that disappointing if you guys made the playoffs with the number 7 seed with a 9-8 season. And I think Scam Darnold can actually surprise and go 10-11 wins with Seattle. But for right now, I have them at 8-9 and missing the dance. So looking at the playoffs, we have the Ravens and Eagles with the number 1 seed in the AFC and NFC. Ravens fans rejoice. And that is the Ravens beating the Bills week 1. So we'll see on Sunday Night Football very, very soon. This could flip with how I would think about things with the Bills being the 1 seed. So big playoff ramifications in Sunday Night Football of week 1. We have Chargers 7 versus Bills number 2, Broncos 6, Chiefs number 3. Again, 3 AFC West teams making the dance. Bengals at Texans. That would be an interesting one. Can the Bengals put up enough points that the Texans offense wouldn't destroy the Bengals defense. And then the NFC side of things, we have the Cardinals and 49ers making it from the NFC West. Rams get shafted. Lions, Commanders, Packers, Buccaneers, and the Eagles. So I think that is my regular season predictions for all these teams' records. Bit of an explanation behind all of them. Maybe we did some of these teams that are a little bit lower tier, a little bit dirty with only 5, 6, 7 wins. But hey, man, the game is the game. Someone's got to win. Someone's got to lose. Let me know down below. What do you guys think? I know you're going to flame the Patriots, probably the Cowboys too. Falcons fans are always very critical as well. These are the predictions for the regular season. I'll see you boys there every single week with the predictions. Smash like, subscribe button. Signing off.